Alright, today we've got the beginnings of an AR-15 rifle, same as the M16 obviously, but this is a Barnes Precision stripped lower here. I'm going to show you some things about it and tell you some things about it. If it's repetitive or if it's things that you already know, then you know a lot about ARs. But if somebody's interested in buying a Barnes lower, then maybe this will help you out and let you know why we wanted to go with this one and why I think this is superior to other AR-15 stripped lowers. Number one, the finish on here is fantastic as far as there's no blemishes, there's no light and dark places, any kind of problems with it anywhere. There's a lot of attention to detail with this company. The other thing is if you look inside the mag well here, and in person you can tell it better, I'm sure, but if you look inside the mag well here, and then if you look inside the lower itself, there's no tooling marks. These are very well manufactured, and you don't see a bunch of swirls or tooling marks of it being made. So their equipment is definitely tight CNC machined equipment. Barnes Precision is located in Apex, North Carolina. Barnes Precision Incorporated, Apex, North Carolina in the USA. And instead of using safe and fire, they've got the bullet showing for fire, and they've got the X out for no bullet for safe on there. The other thing they do is they put a North Carolina flag on the front of the receiver here, which I think is a nice accent to the attention to detail with just adding little things like that. I think that's a nice addition to it, especially since it is made in North Carolina. That's nice that they have that on there. This is where it starts getting into their attention to detail and the extra things that they do to make you have a good product above and beyond. Is that one of the first things that happens with somebody when they start messing around with the AR-15 is a lot of times they change out the back buttstock, or they want to put a single point hookup back here, and that's a plate that goes between your buffer tube and the AR itself. That piece has to come off and then gets replaced. Well, a lot of people that don't know about ARs or build them don't realize there's a spring in here that holds a detent that holds this pin, because this is where your pin goes, your rear pin for the AR. To disassemble it, you pop that pin out and then take the upper and lower apart, which of course you have to open this front pin as well, but we're talking about the back pin here, and this is the threaded part where the buffer tube actually comes off the back of the AR. When you take this plate off, that spring flies out, and some people even in that moment tilt it and drop out the detent, and now you got two small pieces that you need to try to find, and then God forbid it was outside. Anyways, what they do is they actually thread this hole right here, and if you buy their kit to complete their lower, which any mil-spec lower completion kit, spring kit, trigger, and everything will fit this, but if you actually buy the Barnes Precision kit, it comes with the spring and the detent and the threaded hole right here. It has an Allen screw that actually goes in there and keeps it from popping out. So now you can take this plate on and off, and that stays in there. Okay. The next thing is, anybody that's built an AR or that knows a lot about ARs will know that part of your problem is the engagement between the upper and the lower, like how tight do they fit together. Okay. If you ever grab an AR, one of the things you want to check is look at the gap between this piece and the piece that goes up on top of it, which this is the lower, and then the upper, which has the barrel and all. A lot of times you can grab the two of them and rock them like this and notice that there's a lot of slop there, and you'll notice a lot of gap there and a lot of play. And that, to anybody who really knows a lot about ARs or is really into them, that is a big drawback and a negative thing to experience, is that movement and play right there. So what Barnes has actually done is they have a hole here that's not normally on other AR-15 lowers, that again is threaded. But again, on other AR lowers, this hole does not exist. This hole here goes all the way through to the other side, okay? And what happens is there's a nylon or made out of some kind of material similar to the piece of plastic looking polymer looking stuff on the end of your actual buffer that jumps back and forth inside your buffer tube, the part that is called your buffer, that has a spring, and then you have your buffer tube. Well, the buffer itself on the back of it is a little snubber that hits the back of your buffer tube and comes back forward. It's made out of a similar material to that. In other words, it's not going to come off or have a problem. Down there on that piece right there, that piece would screw down in here and then be adjustable from the backside with an Allen head, and it adjusts the tension between the upper and lower, and you can make it fit really snug and there be zero movement. There's another thing on the market called an AccuWedge. This lower here, as I said before, can be used for the different calibers, and this is one, it's in an earlier video, that shoots the AK round. Notice the banana clip, and like I say, here's the primary weapon systems brake that we finally got on the gun. Let's take a look at that. Notice the cuts and the gas reliefs and this vortex style front. This is a brake and flash hider, and I gotta tell you, we have shot it, though it hasn't made a video yet. I'm sure it will. It was fantastic. It worked great, made a huge difference. Now, part of the reason for showing you this is, again, this magazine right here, AR rifle AK magazine. Okay, it will fit in that lower. But the other thing is, like I was telling you about Barnes having the adjustment back here, I mentioned the AccuWedge, and this gun here, I'm actually using an AccuWedge on it. This gun is built, again, with a DPMS lower, notated by right here, DPMS Panther. Okay, but right here, there's an AccuWedge. It's actually removable. It looks like this when it's out, and it sits up underneath the pin right here at the back, and what it does is it acts as a snubber to when you close the AR back up. Okay, it adds extra tension between the upper and lower, so it doesn't have that rock and that movement. It tightens up that gap. And I did this with this gun. It doesn't have an excessive gap, obviously, you can see, but it does tighten it up. It does make it feel a little bit better, and I figured with the AK round it could use some help. But that being said, Barnes already has that. Okay, and it's adjustable, and it's not the AccuWedge. It's actually a part that goes in there, like I mentioned earlier. Barnes has went above and beyond by having that part available, and like I say, between that and the piece back here at the back, those are two things that I don't believe anybody else has on their lowers, and it makes this Barnes piece above and beyond other lowers. The other thing is, like I say, as far as quality goes, this is made from you know, the aluminum alloy. It has a great finish. Here, I've actually built another AR that uses this same lower, and I can tell you, it's a great piece. Definitely want to consider it if you're going to build an AR. You should definitely give these guys an opportunity to earn your business. I would highly recommend this lower to anyone, whether it was military, law enforcement, civilian, anybody that's interested in building an AR-15 should, in my opinion, use these lowers. And it's Barnes Precision, and they're located in Apex, North Carolina. And I hope this helps somebody out. I hope that gives somebody some good information, and I hope Barnes gets some sales out of this video, because again, you know, it's nice to actually, you know, have people like Barnes out there that are not just trying to, you know, stamp out the same basic crap that everybody else is doing, and they're not trying to just catch a piece of the market. They're actually giving the customer a better product, and they're actually putting some like time and effort and, like I say, attention to detail. So again, there's probably going to be some more videos on this. You know, stay tuned, because we're building this, and probably have some, you know, upcoming videos about it in further stages. But this is actually the piece 2, by the way, that is considered the gun. This is the only part of an AR-15 that you have to fill out paperwork for, and is considered to be the actual gun. The upper with the barrel, the stock, the hand guards, every other piece that actually goes to an AR other than this piece of metal right here, is not considered the gun. This is the serial numbered piece. This is the part of the gun that they consider to be the actual weapon. Beyond that, everything else is just additional parts, and it can actually be ordered without having to fill out paperwork. Like at a gun show, you can buy a complete upper, and you don't have to fill out the yellow form, or you don't have to go through the background check and stuff, because without this part, you cannot build an AR-15. And without going through those steps and federal firearms license and things such as that, you won't be able to complete your gun. You can buy every part but this, and this part right here, without it, you will not be able to build the gun. But again, this is actually the part that is considered the rifle, and also it can be built as a pistol. I might want to mention that. And if you're going to designate that, you have to fill out different paperwork for it either way. If you're building a pistol, you have to fill out pistol paperwork and get your pistol permit, whereas if you're building it into a rifle, then you just fill out the paperwork for the long gun. This lower right here, the caliber on it actually says multi caliber, and the reason it says that is this lower here also isn't designated for 5.56 223. So there's so many calibers that you can build an AR-15 in nowadays, and a lot of people realize that with just popping these 2 pins out and taking that upper off and a magazine change, and putting another upper on your lower, you can change calibers. You could go from pistol rounds like a 9mm, 45 ACP, 10mm, and also 40 caliber. I've seen those. You can use the 5.7 round in this lower, 5.7 by 28, which is what the P90 shoots. That caliber will work in this lower as well. And then there's rifle calibers, numerous ones, and I'm not going to capture all the calibers in this video, but you know, with little research you can get all the answers to some of the other calibers available. But some of the ones that I'll mention that will work in the standard lower size, and the reason I call this a standard lower is because they make a 308 version. A lot of people think of it as the AR-10, but it's the 308 version of the AR platform, and it's a bigger lower than this one, and you can build the bigger calibers in it. But since this is the 5.56 223 standard AR size lower, you know, it's limited to the calibers that you can build in this. And so those pistol calibers you can use, and then you can use both of the AK rounds, the 7.62 by 39 and the 5.45 by 39. You can use 5.56, 223, 6.5 Creedmoor, 6.5 Grendel, 6.8 SPC. But again, you know, Barnes Precision, fantastic product, great people to work with, and I think they're going to really get bigger and bigger and bigger, and give them a chance. You know, take a look at them, see what you think. And again, I hope this video helps somebody.